dudes was actually running, taking their shirt off, running, and putting the shirt on top of it, pick it up and throw it back at them. You know what I'm saying? So they was throwing the tear gas back at the police, man, which was just insane. So they go back in the building again, they retreat again, and about an hour later we started seeing a helicopter flying over, and dudes were saying, man, they on y'all on the news, they got it all on the news.
The Banky special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man.
My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's the name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.
Shout out to everybody out there on Team Pinky Pound, man. I miss y'all, man. I love y'all, man. I appreciate the support. Please keep on supporting me. Get some more people to help subscribe. You know, comment, share on this Banky Pound movement, man, so we can blow this thing up with this good positivity we got going on over here. So with that being said, man, y'all been asking me for story time, and I want to get to doing that story time for y'all. There's a lot of stories I got to share. And once I get it all together, I'm going to try to do them at least once a week or once every 2 weeks. So make sure I get these stories out there to y'all, man. So with that being said, today I'm trying to think of what I would actually want to tell you about. There's so many different things that I could tell you about. So I'm just trying to know. I should have got more comments. Y'all comment too, man. And let me know what y'all want to hear. What type of stories y'all want to hear. What type of content, because it's a whole lot of things that go on in prison. I could talk to you about several different topics. So it's just a matter of what y'all want, and I can tell you. Just, you know, like even when I do the videos or did the videos with Joe, he would always just bring up a topic, and then I would just speak about it on the drop of a dime. So everything that y'all heard on Joe, shout out to Joe too, after prison show, man. It's still love over here, Joe. So, you know, it's he would just ask me, and I would just speak about it. So by me doing it now, I would probably just pick a subject. Let me just take it at the top of my head. Let me tell you about a riot. I know a lot of y'all might have heard about a riot or prison riots or whatever. I've been in three different riots. So let me give you probably the most recent one. I'll give you the latest one or the last one that I was in. I think it was the last one. I'm going to give you the riot that happened on Greensville when they tried to do a control movement. I want to say it's 96, 97, somewhere up in that area right there, where when they wanted to try to do control movement. And what control movement is when prior to that time, 96, 97, we used to get up in the morning, man, after count, you know, when count clear in the morning in prison, man, we couldn't be able to go straight to breakfast, leave breakfast, man, and go out on the boulevard and go out on the yard and work out, or go straight to the gym and, you know, work out, play basketball, do whatever, lift weights. And you had that free movement all day like that. You can just go as you please. Well, not so much as you please. You're still in the confines of the prison. But you could go move around a lot more. Go from yard to the rec to the child hall. You know, just different places. And you only had to be back during count times. So control movement was, they was going to stop all of that. They was going to, you know, one block would go somewhere, which is about 80 people. You would go to breakfast and come back, and then another one would go and come back, and then another, till the whole compound was fed. Then when that was fed, then they would call you and say, well, now y'all can go to rec this period, this amount of people. Then they come back. So, and they was going to do that with everything, opposed to just letting people just run amok and go where they wanted to go all day, and depending on them to be back where they were supposed to be at count time. They tried to justify it by saying there was a lot of violence going on, and by everybody being mass moved, they couldn't pinpoint who was doing what to who. So this was part of their justification for trying to put these new restrictions on us. So this is what the eventual riot started because of these new sanctions and rules they was trying to impose on us. Well, when you locked up and you only have a certain amount of freedom, the little bit you have, you love it and you adore it and you cherish it. So when they try to take it, it's personal. So when they try to start this, the morning that they try to start it was when the riot, kicked off, because dudes wasn't going for it. They was not going to accept it. They was like, no, you know what I'm saying? And it's one of the few things that would make convicts or prisoners just rise up when they feel like they being threatened, or they're, the little liberty that they have is being threatened, and that makes them all come together. So they just buck, man. And I can remember it, man, like it was yesterday, man. I was in a block and we was waiting to go to breakfast, and by now it's like, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 o'clock, which by now we would already been to breakfast and, like I say, out and about. But we wasn't, because they had already let out a certain amount of people to go, and they was waiting for them to go back. And when they go back, they was going, like I say, let out the next group and so on and so forth, which would have cut all into our wreck, all into the time we have, all of that. It would have just, but everything would have been at our expense for us, to go along with this. So dudes wasn't having it. So the first group that went out, they bucked. They won't coming back. They said, nah, we won't. So they was trying to get them to go in. And they was out there negotiating with them and debating with them. And they was like, nah. So then as the word spread, it was like, man, they ain't going in outside. They bucking. So you got people that's inside that's trying to go to eat. So they're causing confusion on the inside of the prison. Like, why we ain't going to eat yet? What's going on? People is asking questions. People are getting agitated. They ain't getting sufficient answers. The people on the outside is arguing with the rest of the administration, telling them they're not going back to their cell. They're going to go to rec. They're going to do this thing. So it's just with a powder keg waiting to blow. And the next thing you know, that's what happened, man. People started, they started fighting the police, and then, word got back to the blocks, all the blocks. Hey, they fighting, man. They bucking. They gonna riot, man. They gonna tear the place up. We ain't going for it. So, man, dudes in the block started just tearing up the block. At the time we had pool tables and about 2 or 3 TVs mounted on the wall in each block. They had pool tables. They had microwaves. They had like a foosball table. Man, dudes started setting those things on fire. That's when you knew it was real. They setting them on fire. They busting the TVs up. They're trying to break the door down to get out of the block so they can be out in the, out on the prison, out on the yard where they can maneuver and they can move around. And it's just like chaos, man. It's probably like if you've never been in one, like from the way you see it on TV or the way you see everybody running around with knives and bricks and all of these weapons, and everybody's just fighting and stuff. That's how it be. And the thing about it is, there's no one there to protect you. There's no the guards are supposed to be there to protect all of this type of violence, all of this type of craziness. But with the riot going on, they're not coming. They're not coming to help you. They're not coming to save you. Even the person in the booth that operates the doors, that open the doors, that let people in and out of their cell, abandoned the booth because dudes set that on fire as well. So had they stayed in there, they would have, probably, burnt to death or either died from smoke ventilation. So they abandoned the booth. So that means everybody who's trapped in their cell as this is going on behind their door is still trapped inside their cell. When now the whole part is on fire. So people trapped in their cell can't even get out, and there's no one coming to save them. So people are at risk of dying from smoke ventilation. People is at risk from not being able to breathe, period, just in the block and not being able to get out. So dudes are trying to break the door to get out because there's no one to open the door. Dudes on the outside that's already outside is trying to break the door to help get people out. So it's just chaos, man. And also when something like this happen, man, it's real dangerous, man, in a small area that you in, especially if you're confined in a block, because it might be 80 people in the block. Now you may have someone in that block that never liked you, but they never tried you because they didn't want to, risk the consequences by you or the administration, either or. so they may have kept their peace, but they just didn't like you for whatever reason. Well, during the riot time, it's like a free for all, man. It's like, if you don't like a cat, man, there's nobody there to save the cat. There's no one there worrying about that. So they might come at you. They might come try to take your life. They might come try to put, major bodily harm on you. So you got to be prepared to defend yourself to the end if need be. You have to be ready for all of that because, like I say, only person there to help you is you. When in actuality, that's all you got anyway in there because police is not going to stop a knife for you. That's just not going to happen. It ain't happened in my 33 years of me being in prison. So I never seen that. They're going to yell, they're going to scream, but for the most part, you're going to have to be able to protect yourself to survive. And like I say, during a riot, man, it just makes dudes scared, especially the ones that's already scared. It makes them even scared because they don't know what's going to do. It might come on and take everything you got now. Come, give me everything out your cell. All of this goes on when it's a riot. It is exactly what it said it is. It's a riot. Everybody is just running around acting like, like madmen. And, they feel, I guess, like a sense of liberation in a sense because nowadays, like there's ain't nobody telling me to go to my cell. Ain't nobody telling me to lock in, because right now it's nobody telling you nothing. You're doing what you want to do. And all the frustration and animosity that you got built up inside of you, you're releasing it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a release to people, So it's a crazy thing to see. I'm probably not doing it as enough justice in words because it's hard to describe. It's something that you will have to actually experience to fully understand. But man, it's chaotic and it's a dangerous environment where you can just smell the danger that's in there. It's there. So at the time, coincidentally, I was in the cell by myself. So once I seen it was going to go to the extent that it was going to go to, and by me having past experience with it, so I knew how to protect myself. I knew how to take the proper steps to get ready for what was getting ready to happen. So I went in my cell, man, and I started packing up all my valuables, like my photo albums and my TV and stuff, and I wrapped it up in sheets and stuff and just pushed it at the corner of my bed, and I took my keepsakes and stuff that I could put on me and put them in my jacket pockets and my pants pocket, and I got my weapon, you know what I'm saying, because I'm going to protect me because I only have me, and I just walked outside of my cell, man, and just, wet a rag and a bandana and put it around my face so I can breathe because the smoke was getting so thick in there that you couldn't even see, like, not past 7 to 8 feet in front of you. It's just full of smoke now. So you had some dudes that was locked in their cell and they trying to get out, man. And, you got some elderly people in there. You got some people that's bedridden. You got some people that just are not, 80, 70, just can't even, fend for themselves or whatever. So they stuck behind a door. So they at risk of losing their life just from the smoke alone. So you had a couple of dudes, man, and myself, man. We went and tried to, physically break the doors open to get them at least out in the block where they can get more ventilation, more air. They try to get to the big windows and just breathe out of the windows. So we helped a couple of guys do that, man. And next thing you know, the side door was broke down, man. Like I say, man, when you cage in people or you give them no out. I mean, people in prison, man, they are some resilient people. They find out. They broke them doors down, man. Bent steel and concrete doors, folded it like you fold over a beer can. It was just, the door was folded open, whereas today it poured it and so much pressure was applied to it, it just literally bent all the way over where dudes could climb over and get out and get outside in the fresh air. So dudes started leaving out of there through the doors that had been broke open, and after we got as many doors as we could get open, man, we had to get out ourselves for the safety of our own self because, like I said, it was becoming hard to breathe in there. Even for me, even with the wet thing on my face, it was just becoming hard to breathe. So we ended up getting out, and the first thing I did when I got out, man, I seen the yard, man. It was just chaos everywhere, man. It was just dudes laying out on the yard in blood, just bleeding from being, attacked or being, in a violent, altercation with someone and getting the worst end of it. So they was laying out there by the administration building, man, 8, 10 dudes at least, man, just laying there bleeding or just, fixing or catching their wounds or whatever, because the administration won't even open the door to let them in. You know what I'm saying? Because they're scared they'll sell. So like I say, it's just total mayhem out here and no supervision, no anything out there. So I had a partner on there, man. It was one of my best friends, like my brother on there. And he happened not to be in the block that I was in when this happened. So I just was looking for him because he was the most dude that I trusted. And I'm sure it was vice versa. We like brothers. So I just wanted to find him in case anything jump off, because the dudes had beef with me. They probably had beef with him and vice versa. So we just wanted to be around each other so we could have each other back, because I know what he going to do and he know what I'm going to do. So I was looking for him, and he probably was looking for me, and we eventually found each other after I got out, probably about within 15 minutes. And we just got a game plan together, man. We was like, man, let's just get to the back of the yard. He got his weapons, I got weapons. We just gonna get to the back of the yard. If we get any static or anybody trying to, bring anything to us, they got to come to us where we can see them and we can deal with them accordingly. And that's what we did, man. And it just was, it was chaotic, man. The next thing you know, I guess the police had got themselves together and felt like they was gonna make a move, and they had the riot gear on, and they had the helmets and sticks and everything. And they just came out of the doors open all at one time. So they come charging out, and they coming, man, with their nice sticks and their weapons and all of their shields and stuff. And man, it's like a scene from a movie, man. If you ever see the movie, I think the movie is called Leonardo DiCaprio. I think it's called The Gangs of New York. I think. I don't know, but it just would remind me of something like that, because they come in charge and all of them. And then the convicts, man, and now they feel empowered. They got weapons, they got sticks and pipes and knives and bricks, and they charge right at them like it's, and when they get close enough, man, the police, man, they turn around and run back in the building. They actually turn around and run back in the building and lock the doors, man. And dudes get up to the doors and they banging on the doors, beating on the doors, kicking it, trying to break to get inside there. So man, it was just like some super crazy stuff, man. So you just trying to keep your wits about yourself. You guys got to try to keep your composure, and you got to watch everything moving around you. So that's what we was doing, and time went on, maybe about an hour or so. They came out again. And they tried to charge again, and this time they had tear gas guns and stuff. And they started shooting the tear gas guns at them. Man, they like landed in big canisters about like this, and then they let off all this tear gas. So dudes said it was real hot. Dudes was actually running, taking their shirt off, running, and putting shirt on top of it, pick it up and throw it back at them. You know what I'm saying? So they was throwing the tear gas back at the police, man, which was just insane. So they go back in the building again, they retreat again. And about an hour later, we started seeing a helicopter flying over, and dudes was saying, man, y'all on the news, they got it all on the news, it's on the helicopter, John. Dudes that was still in the building was hollering out of the building and telling us what was going on, that y'all on the news, da-da-da-da. So the next thing you know, you start seeing officers, police cars on the outside of the compound. And they're getting out and they're lining up around the fence, and they got shotguns and stuff. So someone said that, man, that's the state troopers and the National Guard. They done call in the National Guards. So they had the National Guards out there and the state troopers. So now they got live rounds, and they're starting to threaten us and telling us that we need to line up and come off the yard, or they're going to start shooting. I don't know if they was threatening, trying to scare people or whatever. My band dudes was locked in. Dudes was like, they won't leave in anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's a double-edged sword now, because you caught up, because they saying, if you want to leave, people get over here and line up on this side of the fence, and we're going to try to get you out of here, And people who want to stay out of there, y'all going to reap the consequences, because we're going to start shooting in like 10 minutes. So y'all better make a decision now. So people that were scared were starting to go over to the other side of the fence to try to line up to get out, because they didn't want to get shot. So this made the people that was going to stay out of there mad and infuriated, because they were like, you're depleting the numbers. That's going to make it easier for them to do to us what they want to do to us. Don't go over there. Don't leave. Dude's like, nah, I don't want to get shot. So they trying to go over there and line up against the fence. So now these people that's with them other convicts turn on them and start beating them and throwing rocks at them and start hitting them like you a coward, you leave and you leave. So it was just like a fight within a fight. You know what I'm saying? We are supposed to be standing up for something, but we ended up fighting other ones because they were scared for their own life. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a crazy situation, and they're trying to go over their lineup, and people are just trying to fight them while they're going there. And the administration, they just looking at it. They don't know what to do. So it's just chaos all the way around the board. So eventually people do get over there, and then they just dog them, man. They cut a hole in the fence. And these are the people who are surrendering. These are the people that's trying to come off because they don't want the drama. But yet at the same time, they cut a hole in the fence, make them people get on their knees, put their hands behind their back, and crawl through the hole in the fence. As soon as they get through the hole in the fence, then they just manhandle them, grab them and rough them up, rip all of their clothes off, buck naked, and then shackle and handcuff them and put an officer on each arm and usher them back to whatever building or block they came from. This is how they did everybody that came off of that yard. They dehumanized you. You know what I'm saying? They just treated you like an animal. But yet at the same time, they expect you to not act like an animal. So that's the irony in the whole situation. And these people were surrendering. So what need did you have to do them like that? But that's what they did. So now the numbers have depleted, and we don't have that many people out there as normal. We didn't leave. I didn't leave. My homeboy didn't leave, just because, it's like we in the thick of it now. So they had maybe now, which was probably about, from the beginning, maybe 250 people out there. Now you get down to maybe like 60, 70. So it's easier for them to try to overpower us. So they started pushing us all into one little area, man, because they started coming on the yard with guns, and they had attack dogs, and they're just closing in. And then the pile that of the 60 or 70 is out there is all eventually now is in one corner of the yard, and they're just coming, and then they start barking out threats. We gonna start shooting. We gonna start letting the dogs go. Da 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 da. So dudes had started to give in and realizing that they had no way out. So they started surrendering. They started, giving up their weapons, and they did the same thing to us, man. They say, get on your knees and come through the fence. You won't be harmed. You won't be hurt. Now, mind you, they got the administration out there. They got the warden. They got police out there, real police now. They got the everybody, just anybody in the administration out there, women and everything. But yet, when you come through that little hole that they cut in the fence, they got people with riot gear on with their face and stuff covered up. They're going to rip your clothes off you. Not take them, rip them off you, strip you buck naked. They claim to make sure you ain't got a weapon or anything on you. But whatever personal property you had, you may have had a necklace, you may have had a wedding ring, you may have had keepsakes of things you may have had for years and years and years. You may have had in your pocket your photo album. They ripped all that stuff off and threw everything over in a pile, jewelry and everything, and you never saw it again. You never saw it again. And any complaints you made about it, any grievances you filed about it, they chalked it all up to where we was in an emergency state. We're not responsible for that stuff. So these are more losses that people had to suffer during the situation, besides being dehumanized and disrespected by being walked all the way to your building, totally nude in front of women, in front of people that you don't know, just in general, just to dehumanize you like that. So it's just a crazy situation, man. Like I say, I ended up being in 3 of them things, man, and they was all crazy, each and every one of them, man. And I remember this started, like I said, at breakfast time, and we get up for breakfast at 5 in the morning. So this started then. I remember getting back to my cell myself. It was probably about maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock at night. So it was an all-day situation, an all-day standoff where, they ended up prevailing at the end. And I can remember one of the biggest incidents for me when I got back was when I could see from my cell, man, and we locked behind my cell door now. I could see them ushering other people in, and from my cell I had the vantage point to like to see where the sally port was, where you come in and you either go to this block or that block. And I can remember seeing and hearing captain at the time, big dude, man, probably about 6'5", about 300 pounds, arguing with a young inmate that could have been more than 18, 19 years old, 120 pounds soaking wet, with handcuffs on. And he was arguing with him, and the dude was making jokes about him, so people was laughing or whatnot. So he got embarrassed and he felt humiliated because the young boy was joking on him. He literally grabbed him by the handcuffs and pulled him out in the salad port where he thought couldn't nobody see him. And he put his hands up under the back of his handcuffs, which had his arms behind him. And he took his other hand and grabbed the back of his neck and the front of his neck and was literally lifting him off his feet and choking the life out of him. I can never get that image out of my head. He was literally choking the life out of this young boy. And he probably would have killed him, you know, because he thought he could get away with it, and he might have, had not nobody had enough integrity to stop him, you know. And an inmate or nobody couldn't stop him because we wasn't even in that position to stop him. But I could see this happening myself. Not what I heard, I could see this from my vantage point. And there was another officer that came in and just pushed him and made him like snap back. It's like he was in a transformed state where he was just in rage. And he knocked the little boy, fell in and was choking and foaming at the mouth. He was like, "What are you doing, man? What are you doing?" He was like, "No," and he was like, "No, what are you doing?" You know, so they ended up getting the little boy up, and I don't know, they took him to medical or did whatever. I don't know if he ended up filing the report or whatever, man. But I do know for a fact that same captain who did it, he remained working there. You know, when the riots and stuff was over, I still remember seeing him again. So that's the type of level of respect they put on your life in there. That's the type of value of life they put on you in there. That they would do something like that's somebody's child, that's somebody's brother. You know, that's a human being, but, you know, that's how they treat us when they can treat us like that and we do nothing about it, you know. So this is what creates the state of mind that you have to be in when you're doing time, because you have to realize that your life only means something to you. And it doesn't matter how much value you're going to put on it and what you're willing to do to protect it, because they'll take your life, and they're not just convicts, the police will as well. So you have to decide if you want to live and what you're willing to do to live while you're in there. So I just remember that, man, just as clear as day in my mind. It's something that I'll never forget, man. But they dragged us too, man. After that, man, they tried to make examples after a riot, man. They left us locked down, man. I'm talking locked down. I mean, no commissary, no visits, no mail, anything, man, for like 11 months. And they did that, man, with the intent to let you know and send that silent message that if ever the next people think about doing this, this is what the consequences is going to be, and maybe even worse. And I'm talking about they fed us 3 meals a day under those conditions, and every meal was the same: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A bologna sandwich, or orange, and maybe a little couple of fruit or vegetables. And you got that, I mean, carrots or something like that in a bag, and you got that 3 times a day. And you may get breakfast. If you're lucky, you may get breakfast by 12 or 1 o'clock. You may get lunch by about 7, 8 at night, and you may get your dinner about 2 in the morning. And this went on for almost a year. A year, you know. So no matter who you people, you couldn't get in touch with them, you wasn't getting mail, you take a shower every 3-4 days if you're lucky, and you're escorted to the shower in handcuffs and shackles with an officer on each arm and an attack dog walking behind you. And you got 5 minutes to get in that shower and get out, or they'll let the dog go on you. Yeah, so I wouldn't suggest a riot to anybody. And you know, if this for all of you young cats out there that's out here now that's acting like, you know, you bulletproof out here in them streets, if this, you know, sound appealing to you, then keep acting like you acting out here, because this is the type of stuff that goes on in there. You know, this is the type of stuff that you will have to deal with, you know. So you have to ask yourself now, while you out here in the free world, what is worth that? What is worth that? You know what I'm saying? You know, that's just part of what you have to go through in there. That's just a small piece. But yeah, man, it's freedom, man. It makes you value things out here much more when you've been in places like that and seen the things I've seen, been through the things that I've been through. So, that's why I appreciate everything out here. That's why I appreciate life, because I know what's on the other side, and I know what can happen to you on the other side. But there's a lot more about that. There's a lot more details that I don't want to get into, but hopefully that gives y'all an idea about a riot in prison, a real riot, how things really go down. And hopefully, man, if y'all got any questions about it or any more things y'all want to know, you maybe hit me in the comments. Maybe I'll go a little bit more detail for you in there, but everything ain't for everybody. But I just tell you this, it's nothing that you would ever want to experience, and it's nothing that you would want anybody you know or love to experience. So, I just thank God that I made it through. I appreciate it, and I appreciate life much more because of the things that I've been through. But that's a little bit about some of my experiences in there. Hopefully it enlighten y'all on some of the things that happened in prison and some of the things that I went through to help make me the man that I am today. But like I said, man, comment on this video. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Go tell a friend, man. We need more subscribers, man. We stalemated right now. We trying to get 25,000 and beyond, so we can get some more positivity out here in this world, so this stuff can get contagious, man. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank you for supporting me. Tell a friend about this stuff, man, so we can get it huge, large. With that being said, man, y'all be smart out there. Be safe. Make good decisions, man. I love y'all, man. Team Banky Pound.
The Banky special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man. My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's a name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.